Hello dear students, today in this video we are going to discuss about a short topic called as eddy currents or Foucault currents. To understand this concept, let us take a simple example first of all. First, let us define it in simple way. This is the induced circulating or looping currents produced in a solid metal due to change in magnetic field or magnetic flux in the metal are called as eddy currents. To understand this, let us take a sample of metal, say it is a metallic block, and say this metallic block is subjected to the changing magnetic flux. Now, as the magnetic flux or magnetic field is changing linked with this metallic block, what will happen here? The free electrons in the metallic sheet, they start to rotate. Okay. In other words, if I say something like this, let us say that this is a sheet of metal and say this sheet of metal is kept in the perpendicular magnetic field, something like this. Let us say the field is subjected in this way and say this sheet is entering inside this changing magnetic field. Now, as we know that when a charged particle is entering in the perpendicular magnetic field, what happens? It starts to perform circular motion. In the same way, when the magnetic field is changed here, the electrons, that is free electrons, they start to rotate inside that metallic sheet. And as a result of that, the circulating currents or eddy currents are formed. Now, what happens when these currents are formed here? They start to produce heat, or we can say that the energy is lost in terms of heat. So, this is actually unwanted thing, this should not be there, but still there are some factors, there are some say concepts where these eddy currents can be taken in advantageous way, it can be taken in a helpful way. Now, what are that? See here the applications of eddy currents. The first is in induction furnace, eddy currents are used for melting iron ores and etc. If you want to melt heavy metals, that time this technique is very useful and it can easily melt out the metals. Second, in speedometer, eddy currents are used to measure the instantaneous speed of the vehicle. Third, in deadbeat galvanometer, eddy currents are used to stop the damping of the coil in a shorter interval. Okay. Just like we have discussed in case of moving coil galvanometer, there are two spiral springs to bring the coil at its previous position. In the same way here also we are having this concept helping the pointer to be brought at the previous position. Fourth, in electrical brakes of the train, eddy currents are produced to stop the rotation of the axle of the wheels. So, in short we can say that it can be used as a braking system. In energy meters, nowadays we are having digital meters, but in earlier days we were having the systems in which there was a wheel in the electrical meters, and that rotating disc was able to give the readings on your electrical meter. So, in that concept also, or in that case also, the concept of eddy currents was utilized. Okay. So, these are the applications of eddy currents and we can easily estimate the things. Last one, in diathermy, eddy currents are used for localized heating of tissues in human bodies. So, these are the applications of eddy currents. So, we will stop here.